Today we're taking a look at a new mobile snap and clip style controller from GameSir that rocks magnetic Hall effect thumbstick modules, swappable thumbstick caps with RGB rings around them, remappable rear buttons that are tiny but feel great, mechanical this, mechanical that, mechanical these as well, and despite being smaller than the G8 Galileo, which has been my go-to recommendation for a mobile snap and clip style controller, this is still very ergonomically comfortable while giving you a smaller form factor for more portability, not that the G8 Galileo is very cumbersome. Without further ado, we're going to test and review this bad boy on a variety of categories. Let's get it. A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes. These controllers, well, one controller, a pair, a set if you will, was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it, so if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're going to hear about it, so these companies make better products over time. We are, of course, reviewing another snap and clip style mobile phone controller, this one designed for Xbox, but does not work with the Xbox One or Series consoles, and one thing I want to make very clear to my audience right now is this denotion or this piece of branding where a mobile phone controller says it is licensed for PlayStation or Xbox, but doesn't work on those consoles. That is only beneficial for the company themselves. They paid a little vig or kick up to Sony or Microsoft in this case to get that little piece of branding because it looks good on the box.
Here's the way I see it, Ted. Guy puts a fancy guarantee on a box because he wants you to feel all warm and toasty inside.
Yeah, makes a man feel good.
Of course it does. Why shouldn't it?
The reason for this is by using the PS Remote or xCloud applications on Android or iOS devices, meaning phones or tablets, you don't even need a phone. You can remote play to the consoles or play games from their streaming services, that being xCloud and whatever PlayStation's equivalent is. And on top of that, if you do want to use a controller, you can always Bluetooth a full-size controller like a DualSense or Xbox controller and prop your phone up on a little kickstand, or if you want to use a snap and clip style controller like a Backbone or Razer's offering or the G8 Galileo, which is still my favorite, even if it doesn't have Xbox or PlayStation branding, it is still going to work with all those platforms. So all you're really getting from this little licensing is an Xbox button and the face button layout or colors. Just wanted to clarify all that. And in my opinion, it introduces a lot of confusion to the customer, and I would kind of like if these licensed controllers that don't actually work on the consoles that they're licensed for cease to exist. It's good for sales though. You got the lime green back here, and yeah, we get what's going on here. As for the packaging, included accessories on the $100 X4 Aioli. It's pretty delicious, the packaging. It plays on Android. You might be thinking, Xbox? Well, yeah, it's designed for Xbox, not the consoles, just it has a subscription of Game Pass in it and some lime green on the box, and there's an Xbox button on the stop asking questions that there's no answers to. Contents of the box and key features on the left, some more happy things on the back of the box. Then you're going to have the accessory pouch within a plastic baggie, one box with the documentation. So not a bad kit or loadout for $100. You do have a pretty short rubberized USB-C cable, no dust covers, no Velcro tie back. Not that you need it because this is under a foot. There's not really much extra cordage to tie back, as this is just to connect to your phone, a USB-C phone, so that would be an Android device, and it's not listed. However, the current generation iPhones do rock a USB-C port, so perhaps, who knows, maybe test it in this video. So unfortunately, I was not able to get up and running on my iPhone 15, which is unfortunate because there are other Android labeled mobile controllers that use USB-C that do work with the new iPhone 15s. Maybe I did something wrong on my end. It's a very strong possibility, considering I'm not a big mobile gamer. I don't diddle with mobile controllers very often, and maybe there's some kind of crazy connection mode that I don't know about. You've got your guitar pick, which is actually a little QC pass placard saying that this controller shouldn't disintegrate in your hand. You do have that Game Pass Ultimate trial. Ready? Oh, okay, I really thought it would be exposed. Hold on. I've never been into gambling or anything, but that is very satisfying, and I see how people really get into those scratch and sniffs or whatever it is they're buying, spending 20 minutes in line at the convenience store. For your convenience, type in that code, lock in a trial, and please don't be a sleazewad. If you already have an active Game Pass subscription, let somebody get a fair crack at her. In this placard, you have their catchphrase or slogan, just in game. All right, a couple of plugs for the socials, a QR code with some Chinese characters, is there one with the English characters? Yeah, right there. Scan the QR code and register. I'm going to pass on that. What that does is extends your warranty by a period of 6 months, in essence giving you a year and a half. And also you can take advantage of special offers. What does that mean? You expose your email address to marketing from GameSir. You're going to know of every new feature that drops, even when you don't want to, until you unsubscribe. And then access to abundant giveaways. Speaking of such, we haven't done a giveaway on the channel in a while. You got your sticker, little cockle doodle doo, how do you do? Very high quality. It's one of those holographic, foil-y, reflective joints. I'll file that away. People really be out here sticker bombing the side of their PC towers, and gamers out there really not enjoying this instruction manual. This is kind of the best you're going to get with these budget level pads. $100 isn't really budget, that's actually the mid-level segment. As I've covered, 70 to 180 is generally that mid-level segment. I've covered my thoughts on Benjamin Franklin's map over here. The actual carrying case is pretty damn premium. You've got that red stitching around the zipper. You got this little grab cloth if you want to hang it off a backpack to increase your chances of getting robbed. You have metal pull tabs, not plastic. Love to see that. A little bit of inconspicuous branding. Flipping it up, you're going to be greeted with one of two things, either a nice presentation like this or your accessories all nilly-willy like that, which this little bad boy was loose. That kind of looks like the Umbrella logo from Resident Evil, but all black. Oh, fuck me. So I do like this carrying case, as it does have this little cutout which holds your controller in place very nice. So does this laser cut foam, but I have some thoughts immediately. As far as these thumbstick caps, as they are much smaller in diameter than I expected, smaller than a standard size controller, and also this D-pad wheel feels atrociously crappy. Slick, just terrible on the finger. Put you right back there, sweetheart. Ooh, the pre-installed joint, not much better. Talk about that later. Switches, good. Surface plastic, not so much. You do have perfect cutouts for the thumbsticks back there, and the first time you bust this controller apart, you are going to have some extra goodies, some gravy come spilling out. A couple of 3M pads, which can make a nicer surface to mount your phone. A little bit less vibration and less plastic on plastic, or whatever the material of your phone case is. So this is nunchuck style mobile controller, so it's two pieces, like Joy-Cons basically, and you snap on the right side and then snap on the left side on the other side of your phone. Personally, I don't like this nearly as much as having an actual one-piece telescopic controller that has a little plastic frame or brace in the middle, as I feel it holds my phone a little bit better and more secure. But this is a cool, interesting, innovative design, I shall say. Also really like that lime green up there. Rubber coating, so it'll hold your phone without doing any damage. More rubber coating on the bottom. So you can magnetize the two pieces together, but they don't really hold themselves together when you move it like that. As you can see, the weight of it just broke it apart, as the magnets in there aren't the strongest thing in the world. Cosmetics or appearance, I think GameSir really nailed it without going too over the top or rambunctious with the lime green branding. Just this little plastic piece here, which doesn't offend me too much, although the white GameSir logo, if that was black or not even on there, that'd be cool. Don't mind the little cockle-doodle-doo logo. You ain't even gonna see that when your phone's in there. Everything else looks pretty good. I don't really mind the multicolored Xbox buttons, all matte black other than the face buttons and this little lime green pop. I'm gonna go ahead and give the cosmetics a 7 out of 10. As for the ergonomics or comfort, it's pretty gosh darn comfortable. Not nearly as much as the G8 Galileo, which is also from GameSir. I mean, they're absolutely flooding the market with controllers sub $100 for Xbox, Switch, and indeed mobile. I haven't really given their mobile controllers as much of a shot other than the G8 Galileo, but thus far I've been incredibly impressed. Now the G8 is a bigger set of gamepads, so for me it's a little bit more ergonomic. You have more meat to hold on to, but these do have a nice sculpted palm grip, and it's also got a nice rubberized coating, as you can see. I'll talk about those rear buttons in just a sec, but they do not cut into comfort negatively at all. This is a very comfortable controller. In fact, it's not much less comfortable than the G8 while being a little bit more portable, so that's fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and give the comfort, god damn, it is really freaking comfortable, an 8.5 out of 10. As for the perceived build quality, it ain't too bad, except there is these little dead panels on each side, which I got a fingernail up underneath there thinking it popped off and maybe there was something hiding underneath there. While the plastics don't feel amazing, nothing really feels like it's gonna break in your hand. All the components feel good, the rubber grips feel of quality, and if you do have any issue, GameSir does have a 1 year of warranty coverage, expandable by 6 months with their little social media program thing. Damn, that RGB's fucking slick looking. As for the D-pad, the actuation feels very nice. It is a mechanical 8-way micro switch D-pad, extremely light, almost a little bit too light for my liking. It is one of those ones where you can put your finger, rest it right in the center, and just roll it around and hit all 8 of the gates. Whee, it's fun. The plastics used here are incredibly slick, and I also hate this piano or gloss black on the sides, considering GameSir knows that your thumb is meant to be resting here if you're playing a game where you're using the D-pad. It's just going to collect fingerprints and micro scratches like crazy, and it just doesn't feel great out of the box. So swapping it out for the other option, it just held on with friction. Come on, baby. Perfect. I like to rock it like that. Looks like the hubcap on a 55 Chevy Bel Air. That is fucking sick looking. But no, that's not an actual D-pad. That's just the empty socket or slot. You've got 4 little pegs in there, and they line up with those holes, male and female end. Interesting. So this D-pad option feels a little bit better and looks slightly less stupid. The D-pad is far too light for my liking, so I'm getting a little bit of false actuations and having my inputs kind of bleed together between all of the inputs. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10 though, as it isn't terrible. It's not obnoxiously loud, and you do have 2 swappable options, although not fantastic. As for the face or action buttons, they are those mechanical joints with about a 0.5 millimeter squeeze, rated for 5 million clicks, and this actuation force. You're about to get replaced. I've been saying that to you for 8 months, but you're really holding on by your last leg. Come on, produce the smoke for me. You have one job here. In comparison to the G8 Galileo, size and spacing, these are physically smaller in diameter, and they're also closer together. Not a huge fan of that. That's a counterpart or a byproduct of it being a compact, smaller controller than the G8, but these face buttons aren't bad, and if you're going for that portability or you have smaller hands, then this is an absolute dream. I'm gonna go ahead and give them an 8 out of 10. They're a breeze to actuate. I like them a lot. Now, as for the thumbsticks, I'm not a huge fan of the pre-installed options or any of the included caps, unfortunately, because the rubber or silicone compound that they use just isn't the grippiest. We are going to test KontrolFreek compatibility in just a second. These do pop off, just held on with friction. And there's no real high-rise option, so if you're a shooter player, a mobile shooter player, they wouldn't be flicking the sticks on too many faces with these bad boys. And they are quite finicky to get back on. In fact, one of the clumsiest designs for snapping back on, because you have these 2 little plastic prongs, which are very flimsy and can snap off, but you have to line those up just right and also go in at kind of an angle, diagonal, and then snap it in. I've never seen those before. I had to bust out the macro lens to show you how clumsy of a design this is for snapping back in the thumbstick caps. The hole is incredibly small on each side, and then the plastic clips are very small and flimsy as well. It's gross. There's a little hair right there. Pretend you didn't see that, but yeah, this is dumb. Not so silly as you have RGB lighting around the outside of the thumbsticks, but what's cool about that is you also have separate anti-friction rings. So unlike a lot of controllers which use those little RGB light rings as anti-friction rings, which really aren't that slick, GameSir did it right. There's actual pro controller style anti-friction rings in there, which are gloss black. They are actually incredibly slick when you're at full lock on the outside of your thumbstick gates. Clicking down L3 and R3, quite tight and secure. Now these are Hall effect joints, which is fantastic, just like the old G8 Galileo, so you shouldn't need to worry about stick drift in the long run. Both of the Scuff Universal slipovers did work on this bad boy. I call them slipovers. They're not actually slipovers. They have little plastic dishes, just like KontrolFreeks, which, by the way, PS4 and 5 caps, loose and wiggly, wouldn't use them. Nintendo Switch caps, loose and wiggly, wouldn't use them. Xbox caps, which have a chance because they are the smallest in diameter. Get on there, you son of a gun. Keep in mind, I usually do recommend popping off the thumbstick caps before installing KontrolFreeks like I just did there, but don't judge me. Do as I recommend, not as I did in front of your faces. Yeah, these work perfectly. Damn, that actually feels super, super nice now. I went from having really slick, not great thumbstick caps to like unbelievably grippy sticks. And with a little more height too. Exclusive code for KontrolFreeks in the description below. As for the accessory button suite, which is usually done over there, but I'm already over here and I'm not going to get up again once I've already parked my buns, you do have that Xbox button, which is smaller than the jewel on a regular sized Xbox Series controller. Right next to that, you do have your Bluetooth pairing button. Then you do have your mode and screen capture button over here, or share, I should say, as it is a licensed Xbox controller. They're in a good position. I like that the actual gameplay pause and select or pause and options are up here, and then the accessory buttons are down here, the ones that you don't really need to access in gameplay very often. No complaints with the accessory button suite. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I actually like the bumper and trigger suite quite a goddamn bit. They are mechanical bumpers, which feels nice. There is no dots or stippling up here for grip, but you don't really need it. This plastic feels very nice on the fingertips. Actuating these feels fantastic with both the meat or tip of your finger. These are some of the best bumpers I've used on any mobile controller. I'm going to go ahead and give them a 9 out of 10. Repeat, a 9, clickety click. Out of 10. As for these triggers, they have a fantastic amount of resistance. Also, they look like they don't have much travel, but they really do. So if you're using these for racing games, it's a little bit less than you're used to with a full-size controller, but not bad at all. They also have a good resistance, takes a little more strength than you'd expect. And there is that digital trigger lock system. It'd be cool if it was an actual on-off system with a lever, but that's okay. This works. They feel good overall. I'm gonna give them an 8 out of 10. Before I show you the ergonomics and comfort of the rear buttons, what I like and do not like about those bad boys, you can map them on the fly, which is fantastic, but that does not include clicking down the left or right sticks, which is a little bit unfortunate. But here's your instructions for all of that. The rear buttons, I don't know why we're staring at the floor right now underneath my desk. This is a angle we've never done before and probably will never do again. This is where my feet go usually. This is pretty ergonomically comfortable, and these buttons are freakishly tiny, but they happen to land in a perfect place for my fingers. I'm 5'11". These are the little icicles I was blessed with, and my middle fingers actually fall perfectly in line with these rear buttons, which are pretty slippery. I'd like if there was a little rubber coating or maybe better plastics, because they try to do some dots or stippling, but it doesn't do shit.
Don't do shit.
But granted, you're probably just gonna wrap your finger around and click like that, like I do, and yeah, they feel phenomenal. Very quiet, very tactile, clicky, and can be bound on the fly, although not to clicking in the sticks. I'm gonna go ahead and give these a 7 out of 10. I do like the ones on the G8 Galileo board. So as far as the pros, cons, and verdicts section, biggest con here is just comes down to the confusion of the branding with not just this controller, but all controllers that are labeled as being for PlayStation or Xbox, but do not work for those consoles. It's for the companies, it's for their branding, for their marketing, not for us. It causes confusion because you don't need that stamp and sigil. Any mobile phone, tablet will work with the same platforms that you're trying to use. It's just a nicety to have an Xbox button. It was great that there was a carrying case, but what's inside of it wasn't phenomenal. The included caps were very slippery, very slick. Granted, Xbox One and Series KontrolFreek caps do work, which is fantastic. But other than the caps, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of height with the stems or shafts. So again, KontrolFreeks are some kind of universal slipovers for that. But having said that, the Hall effects did feel phenomenal. In my short mobile gaming sesh with it on COD Mobile, I'm not very good, but you know, I dusted off the old Android phone that sits around for review purposes and had a pretty good time flicking the sticks. So I guess we're kind of rolling on to the pros because I just said nice things about it. The face buttons are also phenomenal. They're smaller than the G8, size and spacing wise, but they have a tap life cycle of 5 million clicks, aren't obnoxiously loud, and feel great on the fingertips. Bumpers and triggers, an absolute pro. They're both phenomenal. Rear buttons, very tiny. It'd be cool if there was an extra set of them down here, but these work great. Me personally, I would still recommend picking up the G8 Galileo. It's still small, it's still portable, but it has bigger ergonomic haunches or grips. Everything's a little bit larger, more reminiscent of a regular full-size controller, and I like that. Also, cosmetically, I think it looks a little bit better, but that's subjective. But what I really don't like is the fact that this is 2 separate pieces and it has this magnetized split section. That's cool that we've now seen this design. It's cool that it's innovative and new, and I haven't seen this before or tested this design, but now that I have, I can deem that I do like the original one-piece stretch it out with a backbone style controllers. It sounded kind of naughty. I don't know where stretch it out came from, but anyway, I still do recommend the G8 over this bad boy, but it is a great controller and it is linked in the description below if you want to check it out. Drop in the comment section below what you Stallions and Stallionettes are using in the controller department, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more Stallions and Stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better, so mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.